McArthur, we saw her in David's story. She's a criminal defense lawyer based in Toronto, and we'll talk about some of the consequences for those arrested. We just heard the charge for some of the organizers include counseling others to commit mischief. And Karen, in regular language, mischief doesn't sound very serious. How serious could those charges turn out to be?
It depends on how they particularize mischief. I mean, we normally think of mischief as what children do, or graffiti on a wall, but if you're barricading or blockading in 3 blocks or 4 blocks of downtown Ottawa and not allowing people to get to their jobs and people to get to school, that's a significant interference with the enjoyment of property, a significant mischief with serious economic consequences. That type of mischief is something that the courts will look at very harshly and could be.
And so realistically, sorry to interrupt, but realistically, if it is on the serious scale of mischief, what kind of sentences or penalties do courts hand out?
Most of these people are first-time offenders. So principle number 1 is first-time offenders are treated leniently, and you look at their entire life spectrum and bring it before the sentencing court. Likely they would be looking at substantial fines and conditional sentences, rather than going to the big house or going to the penitentiary. Likely, in the hands of a good lawyer.
Okay, so some of the people on the street right now are going to get arrested. Some already have been arrested. So organizers aside, for the ordinary person who is standing out there and not listening to the police orders to leave, they end up getting put in handcuffs, put in a police car, taken to jail. What likely is happening to them tonight?
So likely they're spending a cold night in a COVID jail. So they'll be on a concrete slab awaiting their call to their own lawyer or to duty counsel that the state provides. The Ontario government provides that, getting their call and waiting for their bail hearing tomorrow morning. Under Canadian law, you have to appear in front of a judge within 24 hours of your arrest, at least to speak to whether or not you can be released. It doesn't mean that you are released immediately. These folks likely will need to be released to a surety, who I call a jailer on the outside that acts for the state. So if people don't have someone willing to step forward, Chris Barber had his wife that came forward and acted as a surety. But if folks don't have somebody willing to step forward for them, they could spend days and indeed weeks in jail awaiting their bail.
30 seconds, Karen. I just want to ask you this. We hear sometimes about courts being compassionate or lenient, depending on your perspective. Will these protesters end up, many of them, seeing these charges just quietly dropped after a short period of time?
I don't think it will be a short period of time. Our courts, if anything, are crumbling under the weights of COVID restrictions and the obstacles that have been placed in their way. Even with all the technology that we have, things have really slowed down. Crowns, judges, defense lawyers were having a very hard time working through it. I would suspect that even if they were treated leniently, they wouldn't see their charges disappear any faster than 6 to 18 months.
All right, Karen McArthur, really nice hearing from you tonight. Thank you.
Nice to speak with you, Ian. Have a great evening. Thank you.
Thanks.